Hey guys, today we're going to review the Kodak Zi8 that I've been using in the 2 Minutes Better Videos episodes. We're going to look at all the different functionalities and some of the features that set it apart from its competitors. So let's start off by looking at the just kind of around the camera, the different features that are going to stand out once you get your hands on one of these. Let's start at the top here. This switch is the macro, and then the lens, I don't know what you really call it, but it's more of a wider angle focus. The wider angle of focus is about 3.5 feet on back, and it is a fixed focus. It's not going to autofocus like some of the other cameras will, where it's trying to seek where it's trying to focus. So I really like that feature about it. Also, the macro works about 1/2 foot to a foot is where it's fixed at, and it's I really like that feature because it does mean you can get up close to your subject. I've shot some food we were eating just to test it out, so that is a pretty cool feature that the flip does not have. Now on the side, we've got an external mic port, which I really like because that means I can use, my lapel mic here will plug right into the side. So I mean, you just plug it right in there, you're ready to go, turn this thing on, and you've got a really good sounding mic that's going to be better than what the internal mic is. This internal mic is pretty good, and it works for about 3 foot, a little bit closer than that. I don't really, it sounds a little tinny to me, a little hollow, so I don't like using it. I do use external mics whenever I can. Also, I have a Sennheiser microphone here with that has a mini plug on the end of it. I do need to buy a bracket so I can mount this somehow, because right now you kind of just got to hang on to it and talk into it. It's a really good microphone though, and that's one of the main reasons I bought the camera, is because of that. Now the next thing we're going to look at is there is a HDMI slot, so you can watch it, and also there's an AV plug. Both of those cables come with the camera. Because the HDMI slot is a little bit smaller than your normal HDMI, and then your AV slot is also the same. It's smaller for some reason than a normal mini plug, but they include that cable with it. This next is the DC plug, which is USB powered, so you can just plug it into your computer and power it that way, or you can use the wall plug that comes with it. On the bottom here, there's a place for the lanyard, of course. I haven't put that on there. I don't really see a point. Tripod mount, which is just your standard tripod mount. I really like this feature. That means I can sit there and put it on a tripod. It's steady. That's what I use for all the 2 Minutes Better Videos episodes. Your next is pretty standard for most of these little handheld cameras. It's going to be your USB port. It is flexible on this one, which is one of the features I like. It does allow it to flex. I would still get an extension cable for it so that you don't, bend this too much or break it or anything. The flip video, if you ever look at those, they're solid. They're very rigid. This is just a little bit better. It does allow it to flex and stuff. So we're going to put that back in there, and it just closes right back up. Also on this side is the SD card slot. Right now I have a 4 gig card in there. Let me see if I can pop it out real fast. That's one of the things I like about this camera as well, that you can use an SD card. This one's a 4 gig. You can go all the way up to 32 gigs, which is a really nice feature. It does set it apart from the flip in that way, and it just slides back in there. You can pop them in and out as much as you want. So I mean, you could have a 4 gig will do about 30 minutes of video. So I mean, it is encoding at fairly good quality. And then this front cover here just slides off. And then there's your battery. This battery is going to last you about 90 minutes, and they run about $20 plus shipping online is what I found so far for the Kodak version. I haven't been able to find any aftermarket ones. I'm sure they're out there though. That's really all on that. The front part, and then you got your lens, of course. Then right here is actually where the microphone is, and then you've got a red light whenever you start recording. Here's the power button. We're going to turn it on real fast. You got to hold it down a couple seconds, and then it'll start up. So what we've got now is all the functions are fairly simple. You've got your setup button, which is right there. You've got your trash can if you want to throw stuff away. This is go side to side or up and down, just like, it's pretty simple. It's much like the flip. I do like it's kind of like a toggle switch. You've got one nice feature is that mic thing. It'll show you where you're recording right now. So as you can see, it's kind of going into the yellow and it turns red whenever it does that. You kind of want to be in the yellow right now, and you can click on that and actually add gain to it or subtract gain. I usually leave it right at the stock setting. It seems to be good even with the internal microphones or the external microphones that I've been using. So you just click it to set it again. You've got image stabilization, which is it's electronic or digital image stabilization. It's okay. I do leave it on, but for the most part I don't need it because I am using a tripod. You've got this is actually a really good feature. It's an exposure, and it checks the faces of the people. It does not focus, since it is a fixed focus camera. It is for the exposure. So a lot of times if you have a black background and it's just you, the camera is going to try to ramp up the exposure. What that happens then is you look like you're glowing white. So this is a great feature for that. This gets you to the camera. If you click it again, it'll show you, what all options you have. There's 720p at 30 frames per second, 720 at 60, which is what I've been using for pretty much all the videos that I've done so far with it. I do like that because it doesn't look as jerky and it looks a little bit more professional in that angle. And then you've got the 1080p, which is also at 30 frames per second. You've got the WVGA, which is going to be 48, resolution of 48. And then you've got pictures. It has a 5 megapixel camera, which is really nice. Let's see. And then this is to play it. So there's a video I recorded earlier. So as you can see, and then you just enter the button and it'll start playing. So, and the thing I was talking about on that video is, let me turn it around. So whenever you press record, the one thing I don't like about it is this red light here. Because this looks so much like a cell phone, I mean, it's pretty much the same size and color as a BlackBerry, so which is really nice. It would be great if that light could turn off, if there's an option in the menu for that. Hopefully they'll come up with that in a firmware update, because it would be great to, if you're playing a prank on a friend or something like that, you could just pretend like it is a cell phone. You can cover that up with a black piece of tape. One thing you want to avoid, though, is covering up the internal microphone, which is right next to that light. So this is pretty much all the features of the Zi8. I really like the camera so far. It's a pretty good camera. This thing weighs about 4 ounces or so. So I mean, it's a pretty light camera. Throw it in your pocket, put it in your vehicle. You ever need to take a video, somewhere, you've got it with you then. So this has been the review of the Kodak Zi8. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments if you have questions or anything, or if you're experienced with the Kodak Zi8. So also be sure to subscribe